Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Today we have with us Anindita. So she will be walking us through a little bit about creative thinking. What's her take? What's her perspective and outlook on the same? Welcome. So first off, I would like you to introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about yourself, please.
Sure. Thank you, Obi, for the lovely intro. One shortest thing I can say about myself, which will sum it up pretty easily. I am an avid believer of positivity and creativity. So, by profession, I am an art teacher. By passion, I am a painter, dancer, writer, and elocutionist. I worked as a newspaper columnist in USA and collaborated with many cultural organizations throughout the years. I ran a creative group for artists here in India after coming back and also made few short films and art documentary for my YouTube channel. Quite passionate about traveling, new places, meeting new people, getting acquainted with new culture. Basically enthusiastic about almost anything creative under the sun. And above all, a mother.
Thank you. That was a beautiful introduction. Moving on. So, if I may say so, like creativity is something that often comes to kids naturally. To some kids, it comes naturally. To some kids, it may not. That would again depend upon what creativity is to that particular kid.
Right.
Is this something very common? What do you think? Should we really push kids to be creative to reinforce the creative mindset, or shall we just leave them on their own and let it take shape on its own? What's your thought on that?
Uh, Yeah, quite very important question. Actually, every child is different. Children develop differently, have distinct personalities, possess different strength, and require different kinds of support to meet their individual needs, just like all of us, right? So, all children have their own power and vulnerabilities. Some are good at sport, others at music, some are very academics oriented, and others not. Many parents are under increasing pressure these days to get their parenting right. Pressure to do well in raising their children who are expected to succeed in school, creativity, later career, and whatnot. So there is no one size fits all way to parent. What works for one child may not work for another. So adaptability, flexibility, they are the key ingredients to parenting. So please avoid comparing your child and also yourself to others. Creative interest is not something that you can grow forcefully by planting it in your kid's head. It should come naturally provided there is enough proper atmosphere and teaching techniques. Given the right nurturing and stimulation, all children will catch up in the end, but in their own zone of interest. So don't push it. It is not something that you can just force it or just grab it somehow. It will come up naturally, and you just give the right kind of water and nurturing to it. So that's how what is all about.
Thank you. And since you talked about letting things take shape in a natural fashion, so and often kids come up with different kinds of ideas. It may be weird, it may be creative. So,
Yeah.
do you think that often we tend to overlook them, or does their creativity get appreciated all the time? And what is the best way you think that parents or educators or teachers, whatever it is, what's the best way of encouraging this within kids?
Yeah, see, there is a wrong notion about creativity. Often it is seen that, okay, he's very talented by birth. Okay, it's nothing like that. Creativity is more of a skill than inborn talent. And it is a skill parents, like caregivers, teachers, they can help their kids to develop. Often, this core feature of raising a kid is not taken seriously. Lots of extraordinary talents remain unnoticed under this piling pressure of syllabus and rat race. Creativity is not limited to artistic or musical expression. It is also essential for social and emotional intelligence, right? So creative people actually they get more flexible and better problem solvers, which makes them more able to adapt to technological advances and deal with change, as well as take advantage of new opportunities, which is very vital these days. Kids who are afraid of failure and judgment will curb their own creative thought, and that happens. Actually, this is reality. Share the mistakes you have made recently. As an adult, it's your responsibility as well to be totally clear with your child, so such that they can get the idea that it is okay to flub up. They need a lot of time for unstructured, self directed, imaginative play, unencumbered by adult direction. Don't brag about what they have achieved, whether it's a success or failure. Emphasize process rather than the product. One way you can do this is by asking questions about the process. For examples, I can tell you, did you have fun with this activity? What did you like about this activity? So basically, celebrate innovation and creativity. Allow kids the freedom and autonomy to explore their ideas, whatever weird it may be. Okay, so children who excel in arts and creative subjects, and children who are excelling in academics or anything else, both should be appreciated equally. But unfortunately, as you said, which is not the case always these days.
Since you said that the approach should be autonomous in nature and we should give that freedom to kids, and we should,
Right.
and kids also should not worry too much about failure and just keep doing things. At the same time, it is also observed that a particular kid could be good in many things. Like he could be good at studies, he could be good at music, he could be good at swimming. I mean, there are different things a kid can do well, they can balance it out very well. Now, as a parent, how do you, or how does any parent for that matter, guide the kid in terms of mastering one and not getting diverted into too many things, so that moving forward they get spread very thin across too many things to handle, and that in turn stresses them out? How do you handle that?
Okay, so see, this is all about perspective. So let me tell you from my experience. As a child, I was very curious. I always wanted to try new hobbies or test my hand at different skills. Once I truly focused my efforts on painting, I began getting more proficient at what I was always aiming to achieve. But still, as a person, I am someone who loves to nurture various skills. So for me, it's okay if you find happiness in lots of things. You don't have to be always master of everything, but there will be something particular which you always love the most. So a child can be a jack of all trades if they are given the support and tools to accomplish what their hearts desire. They will find the one thing that interests them the most and focus their efforts there. Let your child explore all avenues and find their passion so that they can thoroughly pursue and explore it. Several parents seem to have caught on to the idea of getting children proficient in various hobbies and not just letting grow up with mere academic skills. These days it happens. Whether it is joining a theater troupe, learning a music instrument, taking part actively in a sport, all these are common features in today's children's lives. When one observes the lives of current generation kids, it is changed attitude reflected in the new age parenting. Getting asked sometimes on whether it creates a hectic routine or stressed atmosphere, many kids don't complain at all. They're okay with that.
Correct.
But sometimes it's vice versa as well.
Mhm.
So many times it is the parents who want their children to be engaged and outshine in various activities rather than the children, which is something to be thought about. It is all about offering opportunities and seeing what can be worked in your child's growth. It is also about enriching one's life with many skills that help in building a fulfilling personality. It should be about exploring alternate career options too, and primarily make the best of the given opportunities. And if you think that the way the scenario is changing in this job market, there will be some time in your future where one job will require many kind of skills. So it's not wrong if someone has that mindset and capability. They can learn various skills. It is okay, but it still depends on person to person, from child to child, how much they can adapt. And the way they can adapt it, you just push it further. Don't push it from your side, push it from their side, understand from their perspective. So that's how I see it.
Great. And since you mentioned career, so often kids by default are very passionate in nature. They want to grab every opportunity that's presented in front of them. As a guide, as a guardian, as a parent, or as a teacher, or even in an institutionalized setup like a school or a preschool, like what are the basic steps that one could take in terms of shaping a career path out of the creative skills or passion that a kid has, also taking into consideration that we are all limited by resources, like not all of us eventually become what we wanted to, but still we are okay with that. So how do you tackle that?
Yeah. So, in my opinion, the best thing you can do for your children is to keep their curiosity alive and encourage them to explore their interest. While technical skills are important, it is even more important, I think, for especially kindergartners to learn the so called soft skills, life skills, grasping how to learn, questioning, associational thinking, observing, experimenting, synthesizing, critical thinking, reflecting. These skills will enhance the creativity and will make them future proof in the advent of artificial intelligence and of course machine learning, right? These are quite competitive.
Correct.
So if you have a child who has taken interest in art, encourage that interest. Artists have different career and entrepreneurial opportunities in today's flourishing visual culture as well. So don't brag about, okay, my child is not so, interested in mathematics or like coding or these things. Okay, your child can be a chef, your child can be an artist. That is okay. And they are super careers. They are making billions of money. So these days, support your kids in following their interest, whatever they may be. Empower your kids to ask questions about the world around them. Push their boundaries in art and cultural explorations as well. So, one thumb rule to remember: one can be happy and successful both only in that career path which he or she enjoys to do the most. So, nurture your child in a way where he has that freedom and independence to tell you, Mom, I want to do this, Dad, I want to do this. So that then you are, almost successful as a parent. And you know just like in Three Idiots, Amir Khan said, अपना passion के पीछे भागो, success आपके पीछे भागेगी. So just like that, in a lighter note.
That's a very nice way of putting it. Appreciate it. And since you already mentioned about all the new age skills like critical thinking, thinking out of the box, creative thinking, in terms of the new age 21st century skills, it has come up like financial literacy is also something that both parents as well as educational institutes are focusing on. What's your take on that? Like, is it okay to discuss finances or money with kids? And if so, what are the things, which are the areas it should revolve around?
Okay, so yes, of course, it is okay and very much needed. You just have to wait for the right age and maturity, and that varies from kid to kid. For the young minds, it should be more about the concept rather than the number figures. You don't have to tell them, okay, how much actually, how much you are earning or you are giving SIP in your bank. Okay. So, talking comfortably about finances is an important part of helping kids developing a healthy relationship with money. It needs to be a part of day in, day out conversation. So include them in basic financial decisions. The grocery store can be a playful learning zone where kids gradually develop a sense of basic costs. So show them the process of how you pay bills. Help them to understand the difference in cost. For example, at home, fix a budget together. Take that amount of money to store and maintain that budget while picking out the stuffs. It's important for them to know money doesn't come out of the parents' wallet magically. Rather, they have to work hard for earning it. Show them the value of saving. And piggy bank can be a great way to teach your kids the importance of saving. So give them easy chores to do where they can get the experience of earning money by themselves. So becoming lemonade stand entrepreneurs or working for mom and dad will help kids learn about business and hard work. So, understanding that not everyone has the same amount of money and the comfortable life money can access will help your kids sense of what is really important. Eventually, they can differentiate between what is want and what is a need. So, make them a part while helping others. I can give example from my own personal life. So our 6-year-old daughter chooses her birthday to be an occasion for giving something to the other kids rather than having a lavish party of her own. So it is a thorough process. It just doesn't happen, overnight. And you really have to build it by setting your own example. Kids are like blank canvases. Whatever they see, they become like that. So it's how you behave in your life and how you conduct yourself. Kids will anyhow, follow that eventually. So that's what I think.
Thank you so much. As we draw towards the end of the interview, a couple of things that I would like to ask before we part ways is number one, since you being a parent, you have been there, you've done that, you've experienced a lot of things. One strong message that you would like to send out to other parents and educationists as well as kids who will be watching this. That's number one. And number two, since you already mentioned wide gamut of skills which needs to be inculcated, in case a parent finds that okay, I don't see any of these skills in my kids, or a kid finds that hey, whatever I'm learning, whatever I'm seeing in this video, none of them falls in my basket, in my repertoire. So in that case, what are the baby steps that one should take to gradually grasp and absorb these skills?
Okay. So, first, let me give you two basic activities which will help kids develop creative skills. It is nothing that you have to get an encyclopedia or go for an educational trip or something. It is very basic. You do that every day. But maybe you just, are not aware of this can help us also to, nurture a creative skill or a life skill. So there are many, but we'll mention two most effective ways to keep them creatively active and take that baby step you are talking about. So first, taking them to explore outdoors. Okay, so it does not necessarily have to be an educational trip, as I said. While having fun in the park, while splashing colors, while playing holy, while watching birds around the river, the nature around us, the flora, the fauna, the social bondings, all can teach them ample creative and life skills. Allow them to explore the flavors of real life and put them into their imagination. Let me give you an example. Once we took our daughter to a dinosaur theme park. It is here in Hyderabad only. She was very happy to see different dinosaurs, and that too in the midst of a natural setting. This was more fascinating than turning the pages of a science or history book. So after coming back home, she took her drawing book out and tried to sketch from her freshly sworn memories. She found out the names and tried to match them with the sketches. So all these were mixed with fun and excitement of discovering something new. So that is one example I wanted to show when like wanted to give, that it doesn't always have necessarily have to be by the books. It has to be naturally, organically from the your from your outside world. Our land is 365 days of sound and 360 degrees of color. That's I always say, being an artist. So let them enjoy the music of universe. Let them explore. Nothing can be biggest teacher than nature around yourself. Okay. So the second thing is give them exposure of books beyond study material of school curriculum. It can be about anything and everything. Take them to libraries more often than a shopping mall. So these days it is much needed. Let them spend time amidst the books and choose on their own. So make sure they get that environment where friendship with books becomes stronger day by day. Participate in book exchange workshops, enroll in book clubs, book reading sessions, and most importantly, develop reading habits as a family. No matter how much I will tell about the positive outcomes of reading books, it will be less. Imagination starts to free flow when they deep dive into the fantasy world. Reading improves brain connectivity, concentration, spelling, vocabulary, language skill, creative writing. it instigates role playing habits, which is very very necessary for the like first graders or second graders. Good communication skill, basically it helps to understand the world around them better. And most importantly, your child will get a friend of lifetime in books. So I heard many parents bragging about, oh my god, this like almost 1 year during COVID, my children is glued with the screen time, they are not going outside to play, they are not going school, they are not meeting other people. But okay, which is reality, accept that and make it turn into a positive thing. Why not, this Christmas I made a Christmas tree with the storybooks rather than a real storybook, just to convey our family's gratitude towards the books. And that way books were our friend during the whole COVID time. And my daughter was totally okay and happy, spending time at home. And right now I can say she is a bookworm and she loves books, so I'm happy she got a lifetime buddy in books. So these two things, like making reading habits, like bringing back reading habits rather than spending too much in computers, that is necessary. I know that is, of course, I told already. But some things, in a traditional way, reading physical books rather than the Kindle or something. Yeah, it's important sometimes to go back to the roots.
Correct.
So that's two things I want to mention. Yeah.
Great. That brings us to the end of our session with Anindita. I would like to extend my gratitude for taking out time on a Sunday evening. Ladies and gentlemen, this was Anindita and Avik. Thank you so much for your time.